We outside today. This bag is betraying me. Bag, stop betraying me, dog. Like,
your girl.
we are back. So I'm reviewing You Will Never Be Me, and one thing I must start by saying is that this book is, I thought it was different from the books that I've read before, you know, because usually I'm reading books that has to do with crime, law, murder, you know, tricky stuff, you know, and I thought it was different. Oh, to my surprise, clearly I have a taste. But anyways, I'm gonna start by reading like the summary at the back of the book. It says, I'm stalking my best friend. There's no use denying it. Aspen Palmer, with her millions of followers and beautiful family, has everything I want. The worst thing is, I showed her how to get it, and now I'm dead to her. But I've found a way to get revenge if Aspen's world starts to crumble and I'm there to pick up the pieces. Anyways, so Aspen becomes big. Like, she's a big influencer now, chasing 1 million followers, and you know, she's got this perfect life. And then they basically have a fallout, and Meredith is just like, girl, you are not bigger than me. You're not bigger than the program, because to her, she is the program, you know? And then, yeah, man, it's that whole thing. They have a big fallout, but then now Meredith feels like Aspen's success is all hers, because basically she put her on, and if it wasn't for her, then she wouldn't have been as big as she was. And then obviously that's how we get into the part where she takes revenge on Aspen, which takes a quick 10, okay? A quick 10, because I'll just throw it in there. Aspen kills Meredith. So no, I'm gonna throw it in there because that's literally how the author threw it in while we were reading. I think at some point I was like, probably at this part of the book, somewhere here, she literally just throws it in there that, you know, she killed her, and then she takes us back as to how she did it. Okay, so without like actually ruining the book for you, it's a really good book. It's a really good one. Like, I feel like I don't want to ruin it, because like I'm basically gonna tell you all the twists in the book, which are so insane. I never expected it. But one thing about the book, it's very captivating. It had me glued to it. Like, from the time I started reading, I was glued, and I needed to know what happens next, because the author just captures us from the beginning all the way to the end. There's never a point where I felt like I was being dragged along. The story is just dragging. We're not getting to where we need to be. There's never a point that I felt that way. And also the writing, I love that fact that obviously we're getting the story from Aspen's side of point of view, also getting the story from Meredith's point of view as well. And then from then, we're getting their different perspectives. But I love how at some point Meredith, as she's going through the guilt of her being in the process of getting her revenge, she speaks to us as the reader, trying to convince us that whatever she's doing, it's justifiable, of which it's not, Gil. It definitely was not justified, honestly speaking, because she could have just hashed things out, like with Aspen. They could have spoken about it, because at the same time, while she was going through this, she could have spoken to Aspen, because Aspen was also open to speaking to her, because she kept sending her messages even though she was blocked and whatnot. I think something that also caught my attention was the way they depicted social media influencers' lives, you know, and how they communicate with each other. And I found that to be the craziest thing. And I think what was crazier is the fact that it's a possibility that's how people actually communicate with each other. So at some point in the book, they add let's say an influencer event, or yeah, let's call it an influencer event, right? And these ladies, so obviously at this point Aspen is a very big influencer. She speaks to this lady and she's like, oh hi, how are you? I'm great. And this lady is just like, oh, it's great, I actually saw that you have like 300,000 followers now. And I'm like, is that what small talk is like now? Like, are we not having actual conversations? Like, the first thing that would come to mind is, you have followers, like more followers now, not hey, how are you, how's life, how are the kids, how's the family, so it was a very odd conversation that I picked up on, that like they have odd conversations. And also it was in a way for the author to just basically highlight to us that most of their conversations were very pretentious, because how they would go around basically their social setting is that you want to be closer to the bigger influencer, so you'd do anything just to be in their good books, or basically in good light of them, so that you could also basically social climb and eventually work together so that you can also get more followers and whatnot. So that whole narrative of social media is insane. Another thing that I took notice of is how I know the sun is frying me now. But anyways, another thing that I took notice of is the fact that, what was it, Konje? Oh yes, like I love how the author took us into how the good and bad of social media. That was a big highlight, that social media is like a crazy ass tool, and we usually get it from the perspective of influencers being victimized by people who might be their followers, or people who just don't like their content or how they do everything, or what they say, their opinions or theories and ideologies. But also we got it from a perspective of an influencer, that social media is a crazy place to be. It's crazy because you control the narrative of how people perceive you, and how they perceive your life and everything. But also it can all come crashing down, because the work put into doing that is insane. Having to give people the idea that your life is like this, and people actually being exposed to your actual life, and feeling entitled to how you do things, how you go about things. Hey, what time is it? Okay guys, one thing I'm going to say, that this book is really good. Get yourself this book, and now I have to go to it. I love you, and have a great day. And if there's anything I forgot, I will definitely add it on to the next one when I do read the next book.